Okay, we are going to start. So this is, we're on 172. This is the third important thing. In the last chapter, what happened? I wasn't here.
So Squeak and Arthur went to to do a community service, even though he said he quit. And they get there, and the junk man was sitting there, and they started talking, and he explained how the junk man explained to them how he went to Guam and went to war, and how this all started, and he wanted to make third heaven. And then Squeak was like, why the third? He's like, honestly, I don't know.
So he's kind of explaining.
And then he's like, boys, less talking, more work. We got a lot to do.
So it looks like Squeak and Arthur go to the garage. Guys, come on. Squeak and Arthur go to the garage and they start helping Mr. Hampton. It sounds like he explains like where he got this idea for this artwork. All right, so we're on the third important thing. I'm guessing she didn't start this chapter?
No.
Okay, cool. Let's start.
We didn't really read that much.
So this is 172, the third important thing. It is not easy to wrap a light bulb with tiny scraps of foil. So they're like helping him make this creation, and they're wrapping foil around light bulbs. Arthur discovered this pretty quickly. Mr. Hampton needed 10 light bulbs to decorate the top of a silver pedestal he was making for the collection. The pedestal would go to the left of the red chair, the throne, to balance a pedestal on the right. Everything in heaven was perfectly balanced, he said. So everything's symmetrical, like what you see on one side, you see on the other. Mr. Hampton used foil-wrapped bulbs to decorate a lot of his pieces. Lights in the darkness, he called them. But after making his first one, Arthur called them a big pain in the butt. First, you had to put rubber cement on the light bulb. Oh, I feel like I can, smell that. It reminds me of, first grade. You guys ever smell rubber cement? It's like skunk.
Not real cement.
Wait, rubber cement?
Yeah, it's like that skunky glue that you used to use, back in the day.
Oh, we have a big tube of that down in the garage.
Yeah.
No,
So, first you had to put rubber cement on the light bulb. Not too much or it would drip all over the place. Hampton warned. Not too little or the foil would slide off. Then, with one hand carefully holding the sticky bulb, you had to grab a tiny square of tinfoil and press it firmly to the side, without breaking the bulb. We're on the top of 173. This was the part of the process that made Arthur very nervous. The bulbs were glass, of course, ridiculously thin glass. Arthur's hands weren't very careful. He didn't trust himself not to crush, pulverize, or drop a bulb. Squeak had much more patience and smaller hands. So Arthur would brush rubber cement onto the bulb and hand the foil scraps to Squeak, who would press them gently around the glass globe, as if he was working with an unexploded bomb. Surprisingly, Arthur could still recognize where a lot of the foil scraps had come from. He could pick out the ones that were Squeak's lunch foil, the tops of TV dinner trays, Christmas gift paper, and wine bottle wrappers. Arthur remembered how people in the neighborhood always used to call the junk man a crazy old drunk when they saw him sticking empty wine and liquor bottles in his coat pockets. It made Arthur feel guilty to think about it now. So he's thinking back about these kind of assumptions that people have made, including him, about the junk man, assuming he's drunk when he's not. He's just collecting these things. Where am I? Nobody would have guessed he was using them for their foil wrappers. Best foil you can get, hands down, Mr. Hampton told Arthur and Squeak when he showed them how to wrap the bulbs. The other stuff works fine, but the bottle foil has the most shimmer. He liked to use a lot of different layers on each bulb. More layers equals more shine. Arthur wasn't sure he believed this theory, but Squeak was the kind of person who followed directions 100%.
What do you mean bottle foil? In a bottle there's foil?
On a wine bottle?
Yeah.
So at the top of most wine bottles, they have the first layer you got to get through is a foil wrapping, and then you got to pop the cork. So it's a protective wrapping. That's what they're talking about.
I thought they use wax for that.
Sometimes they do. Yep. Top of 174. He insisted on wrapping every bulb in about a half dozen layers. Every shiny corner had to be glued down and pressed perfectly smooth against the bulb. He wouldn't go on to the next one until Mr. Hampton inspected it and gave his approval. Arthur was glad when they finally finished the bulbs and could move on to something else. Their next job was much more suited to him. They had to smash a bunch of mirrors into tiny pieces. That's technically bad luck. Now it was, yeah, if you break a mirror, it's like if you're super, yeah, if you're superstitious, it gives you bad luck. But sounds like super
I just
fun
thought of a joke,
also.
but I forget it already.
That would be really fun.
Super
So yeah, like it would feel good. Yeah.
Superstitious.
So they had to smash a bunch of mirrors into tiny pieces. Now it was Squeak's turn to be nervous. They were supposed to put the mirrors in paper grocery bags and smash them with a hammer. That I would love that sound. That was the safest way to break them, according to Mr. Hampton. Once the mirrors were broken up, they poured the fragments into a box for him to use later as decorations on the wings. Gives the angel wings their sparkle, he said. But Squeak was convinced that if they broke the mirrors, they'd be causing themselves years of bad luck. I don't think this is a good idea, he whispered to Arthur. You're not supposed to break mirrors. It's really bad luck in a lot of cultures. Haven't you ever heard of a broken mirror bringing you 7 years of bad luck? I don't think we should be doing this. Arthur shrugged. I don't care. I've already had a ton of bad luck. I'm not afraid of a stupid mirror. He picked up the hammer, feeling strangely invincible.
His mom's gonna die.
Maybe it'll have the opposite effect for me, he laughed. God, I hope not. Top of 175.
That would be a good story if the mom dies.
Maybe it will have the opposite effect for me, he laughed. Who knows? Maybe smashing a mirror will bring me good luck. And then, after Squeak moved a safe distance away from the potential bad luck and closed his eyes, Arthur broke his first mirror. It felt good. Great, actually. Hand me another one, he said to Squeak, who looked reluctant to touch anything resembling a mirror. So Arthur picked out one by himself from the stack, leaning against the wall of the garage, and put it in a paper bag. Lifting his hammer, he shattered another one. It reminded him of his earth science class, of the continental plates cracking apart. Only he was the one shattering the plates. 14, Squeak said faintly. What? Arthur looked up. 14 years bad luck. 7 times 2. So he's counting. Every mirror that gets smashed, he's like, oh, there's another 7 years. Oh, there's another one. So he's up to 14 right now. I've already had that much bad luck in 1 year, Arthur said, feeling happier than he had in a long time. I'm going to break another one. And he did. 21, he and Squeak said together. Arthur broke 3 more mirrors before Hampton looked up from attaching a large pair of foil-wrapped angel wings to one of the pedestals. Okay, that's enough, boys. That's plenty of mirrors. You can stop now. Good, Squeak whispered, seeming relieved. Arthur wished he could have broken a few more, as he carried the 42 years' worth of bad luck, or good luck, depending on your perspective, top of 176, over to Mr. Hampton. He felt as if he'd been set free of something, as if some big shadow over his life had been taken away. So he is kind of experiencing this thing called catharsis, which is kind of a cool concept. So catharsis, it's spelled like this. Anyone heard about that? So,
Arthritis.
yeah, it kind of sounds like arthritis. So catharsis is when you're really stressed and you break something, you get a good feeling. So, actually for my birthday, I'm going to go to this place in Burlington where you throw axes. You throw axes against a target. So, and that's going to be cathartic for me.
Did that with
Yeah.
But I had tree though.
Yeah, so anytime you break things and feel good about it, it's called catharsis. So he's experiencing that right now.
Yeah, but he could hit something outside of one.
All right, let's continue. Last paragraph on 36, or whatever chapter this is. 176. After his dad's accident, he'd spent months worrying about what might happen next. He'd worried about his mom and Barbara all the time. Then after he threw the brick, he started worrying about who he was, whether he was a bad kid who'd end up in trouble just like his dad. It was a big mirror of bad luck hanging over his head every day. And now he had smashed that mirror into a million shiny pieces. This was the third important thing.
That was a good story.
All right.